podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.
She just goes a little mad sometimes.
Do you ever feel like you're normal and the rest of the world has lost its collective mind?
Put your helmet on. We'll be reaching speeds of 3.
Do you find people saying this to you a lot?
Are you totally deranged?
Are you looking for a looking glass to pass through?
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Or looking for a rabbit hole to fall down?
Who could think of a better punishment, really? Everything's the same here. It's just a little worse.
Guess what?
Life's a bitch. Now so am I.
You found it. Welcome to Platinum Rose's Garden.
Hello, my darlings. This is Platinum Rose Lady welcoming you to Platinum Rose's Garden on Saturday, November 19th, 2016. Well, we got some good news at the beginning of the week. Actually, it was great news. I thought it was really awesome and special, and I felt like I should share it with you guys this week on the show. It was announced last week that Jared Padalecki and his beautiful wife, Genevieve, they announced that they're having another child. That she is due in March, which is obviously very exciting, on top of the 2 boys that they already have. And this week, Jared and his family shared with the rest of the world that they are expecting a little girl. So, yay! Snoopy Happy Dance, Kermit Flail. I'm so excited. I'm so happy for Jared and Jen and their families. I'm just beyond thrilled. The boy, Tom and Shep, will have a little sister. That's so cool. I'm just really excited for them. I'm just really beyond happy for Jared and Jen. It's great news. Also this week we had some other news. The news being that the People's Choice Awards are coming up in January, obviously, but you have to have voting and stuff for the categories that are out there. And up for nominations earlier this year for favorite actor in a fantasy series, Jared and Jensen and Misha were all up for favorite actor in a fantasy series, along with some other really noteworthy folks. And Supernatural was up for, in the running to be included in the, favorite premium sci-fi fantasy series, network sci-fi fantasy TV show. Supernatural did get included in the category for favorite network sci-fi fantasy show, so definitely go vote for Supernatural as much as you can. And when it comes to favorite sci-fi fantasy TV actor, Jensen was put in. Jensen is one of the people in the category, which is obviously an excellent thing, along with Andrew Lincoln from The Walking Dead, Ian Somerhalder from Vampire Diaries, Tyler Posey from Teen Wolf, and Sam Heughan, I think that's how you say his name, from Outlander. I'm sorry, Sam, if I just fucked your name up totally. I'm sorry. And I am really happy that Jensen made the list. I am super excited and thrilled. And, other than the fact that he's, on the list, that's obviously a great thing because Supernatural is being represented, which you think would be the attitude of most of the other fans of the show. And I'm sure it's the attitude of a lot of other people like me who actually, are thinking. Unfortunately, you wind up with some people who are taking a really nasty tactic that I was going to go on this week, and I gotta be honest, guys, I was going to go on this week and rip some people a new asshole. I really was. There was a lot of really nasty shit posted this week to Twitter, to Jared's Instagram, other places. People saying nasty shit about Jared not being, that he shouldn't have been nominated because for whatever reasons. And a lot of people also spewing hate at Jensen and Misha. And also, Jared fans spewing hate at other Jared fans, saying that, we're all horrible people and we didn't vote for him enough and we should be ashamed of ourselves and all this other shit like that. You know what? To people like that, fuck off. Fuck you. People voted as much as they could, as often as they could, and I'm sorry that Jared didn't get in the nomination committee. I feel, get nominated as well as Jensen. I feel bad about that. I do. But for me to turn around to other fans and be like, well, you didn't vote enough, you suck. No, that's not cool. And for people to spew hatred at Jensen and be like, well, don't vote for Jensen because he got an award last year. What? What kind of immature horse shit is that? Grow the fuck up. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Other than I am going to say, if you are a Supernatural fan, vote for Supernatural for favorite TV show and vote for Jensen for favorite actor, please. Let's represent the show and actually be decent fans. I mean, I love Supernatural, but sometimes some of the fans just make me shake my head. Seriously, they do. Moving on to a different subject, I want to talk about something that I've discovered this week that is really cool. I always like to share stuff with you guys when I see a good movie or I find out about a TV show or find out about an author. And I feel like that's important, that authors need love too. And I think that, the more people that find out about an author, if you find an author and you like their stuff, you should tell other people so other people can find their stuff and, they get more fans, they get more readers, more people read more, and reading more is always a good thing. So, the author that I'm bringing to y'all's attention this week is a gentleman named Rob E. Boley. Rob has a website, which is www.robboley.com, ROBBOLEY.com. Rob is a writer of horror fiction, and he has a real flair for horror with a wink. Kind of like, not that it's not scary stuff, because it is, but he also writes horror that isn't like, oh my God, this is so gross, I'm going to throw up all over the floor kind of horror. He has one series of books out there that I want to bring up called The Scary Tales. Now, I got to admit this to everybody out there. I am a person that likes to read stuff that's a little bit on the twisted side, and the whole concept and the whole genre of the twisted fairy tale has always intrigued me, because if you go back to the way fairy tales were originally done, PD, as I like to call it, pre-Disney, fairy tales were fucking violent shit. A lot of fairy tales were told to teach kids to not do things, like the whole Goldilocks thing, don't go in somebody's house, and, all that kind of stuff. A lot of fairy tales had really the original stories were much darker than the stuff that we're used to now of cartoon singing birds and all that kind of jazz. And Rob has taken this idea and run with it in his Scary Tales serial, which is looking at fairy tales with a much darker bent. He has 6 books in his series, That Risen Snow, That Wicked Apple, That Ravenous Moon, That Malicious Storm, That Merciless Truth, and That Crooked Mirror. So if you want to check out stories that are a little bit on the crazy side, but also very cool, and he does some terrific short stories too, check him out over at robboley.com. And if you do that, I hope you tell him that Platinum Rose Lady sent you. And now it's time for what you all were really waiting for this week, this week's Supernatural episode recap.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Season 12, Episode 6 of Supernatural. celebrating the life of Asa Fox. The then deals with, well, I mean, let's be honest, you can't really get more of a then kind of a thing than what happened last week with Dean Winchester shooting a resurrected Adolf Hitler in the head. I love the look of complete little brother to big brother adoration on Sam's face when he says, dude, you just killed Hitler. You know, it was just awesome. The rest of the then is dealing with the life that hunters lead, which is, you know, obviously incredibly dangerous and, unfortunately, a lot of times short. You know, hunters often meet violent ends doing what they do. You know, I mean, they're dealing with fighting monsters, for fuck's sake, for the most part, you know. The then also deals with demons, and specifically crossroad demons, who we know from previous experience that they usually have their eyes glow red when they're possessing a human being. Crossroad demons usually make deals and come for somebody's soul 10 years later. And the then also deals with Dean's semi-coping with the fact that Mary, who has come back into their lives after being resurrected by the darkness, has also now left their lives. You know, she constantly telling the guys when she came back that, you know, she didn't want, you know, she had walked away from hunting when she was alive to become a mom, and now she's back on Earth and dealing with being possessed by a ghost obviously really fucked her up, and she had to leave to sort her head out. And I mean, Sam's not dealing with it well either, but Dean's even worse. And now we're at now, but now isn't exactly now. It's Emerson, Manitoba, Canada in 1980. We see a young child running through the woods, from the look of things, running for his life. He falls and he's attacked by a werewolf, and as the werewolf is about to kill him, a shot rings out, and this young man is saved by a woman who introduces herself to him as Mary. And we see that it's a young Mary Winchester. Mary takes Asa home, and she tells him that she is retiring from hunting, that she is cleaning up some loose ends right now. Now, we know if she was still hunting in 1980, that's after Dean was born, you know, a little bit after Dean was born, but that she, you know, apparently she's on a farewell tour from hunting, for lack of a better word. You know, I mean, some women jog to lose the baby weight. What do I know? Before she drives away, though, Asa turns around and takes a picture of her, and thus begins Asa's life taking a different path from the person that he might have been had he not been saved. Asa starts saving clips, newspaper clippings of, you know, strange occurrences, and as he gets older, Asa decides to walk down that path and becomes a hunter. We see Asa's life as Roll On Down the Highway plays by Bachman Turner Overdrive. We see Asa becoming not only a hunter, but becoming a damn good hunter. You know, the whole saving people, hunting things, obviously Asa took to that very well. And we also see that while he was growing up, Asa was still writing. He started, as a child, he started writing postcards addressed to Mary, but he never sent them. As we're seeing these things, the music takes a sudden stop when all of a sudden we see Asa's death. We see him being hoisted up into a tree by a noose, and he's very obviously dead. And the music abruptly cuts, and we get the opening of the show. We come into the opening of the show with the house of Jody Mills, Sheriff Jody Mills, who's sitting down to watch some television, and she winds up being interrupted by a knock at the door. It turns out that it's Sam and Dean, who've been on the road for a little while, and from the sound of things, the way she's talking, she says they look awful. They probably don't smell very good either. They were on a case nearby, and pretty much the first thing that Dean says when they get in the house is, since the last time we saw you, I killed Hitler. you can tell from the look on Sam's face, he's like, oh my God, I have to listen to this again. You know, Jody's response of, oh, thank you? I really think that would pretty much have been the response of 99.9% of the population, and the kind of a smug little smirk on Dean's face, like, yeah, damn right I killed Hitler, because I'm Dean fucking Winchester. It was just so cute. I realize he's a badass hunter, but good grief, he's just adorable. It turns out when they ask, Claire and Alex are not at home right now. They are at a Radiohead concert in another state. Is Radiohead still together? Okay. News to me, but so we cut to them just sitting there watching TV with Jody, and they're having pizza, and they're just hanging out, just being a bunch of friends, which was just so cool. They could have kept that scene going all for 20 minutes. I would have been happy. Dean kind of teases Jody about what they're watching. There's some kind of a chick flick. When she kind of throws it back at him that, he asking if he's a rom-com chick. Sam brings up that, he says he's more of a animated Japanese erotica chick. It's called hentai, Sam. Get it right. And the idea that Dean Winchester is into tentacle porn is unnerving. I'm sorry. The funny thing is when Jody gets a call, goes to answer it, and Dean kind of gives Sam a hard time. It's like, no, don't tell her that. It's Jody, kind of thing. Like, I just thought that was so cute. Sam's still teasing and being kind of a bratty younger brother, which I'm sorry. I love moments like this. They don't come along often enough, and I love them. It turns out, though, that the fun stops abruptly when Jody walks back into the room and tells them she got a call from someone letting her know that Asa Fox has died. It turns out that Jody actually knew Asa. They were friends, and, well, actually they were friends with benefits. That Jody knew him because he came into town a few months ago and tried to convince her that he was an FBI agent named Fox Mulder. Really? For those of you who thought Sam and Dean's rock aliases were bad enough, really? She wound up helping him go after a pack of ghouls, and when he would come around on hunts and stuff like that, they would hang out, and they would apparently do more than hang out. She's very upset that he's died. They were close. It also turns out that Sam and Dean they realize they know the name Asa Fox. They've heard of him, that he's apparently this well-known person in the hunting community, killed 5 Wendigos in one night kind of a thing. Jody says that she's going to go to the wake, and Sam and Dean offer to go with her. So they drive to Manitoba, and they get to the house, which is a rather large, rather grand house. You wouldn't almost kind of suppose a hunter would live in a house like that, but that's where Asa lived. And the house is full, and I mean full, it's like an Irish wake, full of hunters talking, laughing, reminiscing, drinking, while Alice in Chains' Man in the Box is playing incredibly loudly, and I'm having flashbacks to Extreme Championship Wrestling. I miss those days. Gosh, I miss them. Jody gets a hug from Asa's mother, Lorraine, who apparently knows Jody and apparently likes Jody from the look of things. It turns out as Sam and Dean kind of wind their way through the house, Dean ends up in the kitchen getting a beer. It turns out that the Winchesters, needless to say, and this should really come as a surprise to absolutely nobody, are pretty much legends in the hunting community. That there are stories that are told about the brothers, and that when Dean brings up that, that there were things, that all these things about that they'd heard about Asa Fox, one of the hunters brings up that, you think that the stories about Asa are basically telling him, you think the stories about Asa are crazy, you should hear what they say about you, talking about Sam and Dean. While they're While Dean's in the kitchen, he gets a beer from one of the hunters named Bucky and meets another hunter named Randy. Sam is in the other room and is talking with the Baines siblings, brother Max and sister Alicia, who are hunters who were actually raised by a witch. And it turns out they were raised by a good witch. And not the Glinda good witch type, like an Enya, earthy, crunchy, Woodstock kind of fairy witch, I guess. I don't know. But she taught them magic, and they use it to help them with hunting. So, I think that's pretty cool. A hunter named Elvis, who was in the kitchen and met Dean for a second and now knows Sam is in the house, horns his way into the conversation and starts pumping Sam for information about being possessed by Lucifer. Rude. Watching Sam have to be kind of awkward and struggle, I was like, oh, poor puppy, precious angel baby, come here, let me hold you. Sam manages to make his escape. Dean, who's going through walking around the house looking at some of Asa's memorabilia and research wall and all that, finds out that Asa actually owned an angel blade. So this guy was legit. The brothers talk for a minute about the fact that, apparently in the hunting community there are people that talk about them quite a lot. And they also talk about what happens at the end of a hunter's life. Dean brings up the whole thing that what they do is not a safe business, and as he says, this only ends one way. This being a hunter's life, ending one way being dying horribly, which I can really tell from the look on Sam's face he doesn't want to have happen to him or his brother. Even though they've died over and over again, but they keep coming back, which is a good thing for us. It turns out that, although it was kind of hinted at earlier, Jody and Asa were involved. They hooked up every once in a while, obviously, and you get the feeling that with both of them, it wasn't a case of hit it and quit it. They had feelings for each other. At least Jody had feelings for Asa, but I think from the look of things, Asa might have felt the same way. The hunter named Randy. Now this is happening a little later on in the evening. Most of the other hunters have left. There's only a small group left in the house with Lorraine. The small group being Sam, Dean, Bill, Jody, Bucky, Elvis, the Barnes siblings, and Mom Lorraine, and also Randy. Randy goes in the kitchen to get a beer. As he's walking back to the living room where everybody is, he is grabbed and his throat is slit and he's pulled into another room. We see someone walking into the house who says that they knocked, but the person says they knocked, but nobody answered. And the person's Mary. Mary's come for Ace's wake as well. And Sam and Dean look kind of torn between glad to see their mom and like, oh no, this is not the right place for this. And Dean actually kind of looks pissed. Jody and Mary actually meet up, and Jody is introduced to Mary. And it's kind of awkward for a minute until Jody takes Mary in a great big hug, which I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Mary, as it turns out, has been traveling around. She's been traveling the country from the sound of things. She says she went back to Lawrence, Kansas for a little bit, and she used John's journal to get around and to retrace some stuff, to which Dean's response is, you could have just asked us, which she could have, but you get the feeling that wasn't going to happen. And she's, like I said, Dean is really, really hurt. And Mary heard about Ace's death and remembered him from when he was a boy, and she saved him. And like I said, Dean is really, really hurt. You can see it. Mary meets Ace's mom, Lorraine, and it's not a nice meeting at first. It turns out that Lorraine actually blames Mary for the fact that Asa became a hunter. She says that Asa was going to become an astronaut until what happened in the woods happened. And she slams down this box full of postcards that Asa made out to Mary but never sent because Mary was so mysterious. Lorraine, I can understand why she feels that way. She's a mom. She's just lost her child. She's hurting. And she's looking for someone to blame, and Mary's the closest target. And she feels like Mary's actions set her son on this path that he went on that wound up getting him killed. You can't begrudge the woman her feelings, really. Mary and Sam talk because, they try to talk. Well, Sam tries to talk. He's, trying to get through to his mom to explain how she feels, and she's not having any of it and kind of shutting down, and you can kind of tell where Dean gets it from. As Sam's talking with his mom, Dean's actually gone outside. Before he went outside, Jody did try to reach out to him to get him to talk, and of course that didn't happen. And Dean is outside drinking from his flask. The thing is, Sam, as he's talking to his mom, you can tell that, he reads his mom really, really well. That the reason that Dean's acting this way, as Sam explains it, they had their moms just come back into their life. Literally, she was gone for most of their life. She was dead, and now she's back. And that Sam explains Dean's scared, that he's worried that she's going to walk away from them and stay away from them because they're hunters and because she says that she left that life behind. But Sam says that he knows that that's not going to happen. That it's obvious that Mary can't get hunting out of her system. Not completely. Looking back at what happened with Asa, that, she had saved Asa back in 1980, and 1980, Dean had already been born, and everybody had thought that Mary had stopped hunting for good. Sam says, seems like you couldn't stop then, and I'm guessing you can't stop now either. This job, this life, it's crazy and insane, but it's in our blood. And I know some people are going to be like, okay, you're a Samazon, you're going to believe and back up everything Sam says all the time because you're a Samazon. But he's right. I think he hit the nail right on the head. I really, honest to blog, do. This is something that once it starts with people, it's like people that, are in the army, people in the military that, you keep hearing about people that are in the military, especially for some reason, people that are in the military during wartime, that they have chances to leave, they have chances to, be honorably discharged or do whatever it is you do in the military to stop being in the military. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. But they don't. They re-sign up for like another tour of duty because that's what they do. And that's what hunters do. That's the way that it goes. Sam and Mary go into the what looks like a billiard room where Asa's body is being interred for right now until he's supposed to be burned the following day. His body is wrapped up in a sheet on the pool table. I don't have any idea what to say to that, so we'll just leave it there. They move back the sheet to look at his body, but as they're looking at him, all of a sudden there's a couple of drops of blood that appear on his forehead. And they look up and they see Randy's body tied to the ceiling with rope, and his throat cut and the blood's dripping down. They run back and tell the others that Randy's dead and what's happened, and it turns out they find out from Bucky about this Crossroads demon named JL. According to Randy, he's the one that killed Asa. It also turns out when they try to get out of the house and the water's turned off, by the way, there's no chance of any holy water if nobody has any. The house has been warded from the inside, and the hunters that are inside, the people that are inside, can't get out. Dean, while he's outside, hears someone walking up behind him. He tells them to go away. It turns out that it's Billy, the Reaper. Billy tells him that she has reaped a soul inside the house. And when Dean tries to get into the house, the door won't open for him. And Billy tells him the house has been supernaturally warded from the inside. They can't get the door open inside. He can't get the door open outside. They can't even hear him outside while he's pounding on the door and screaming for Sam. As it turns out from what Bucky tells everybody, Asa and JL had an incredibly bloody history. Asa and Bucky had been working together to try and free a young girl who was a member of the First Nation, who was possessed by JL, whose usual MO is to kill people, slit their throats, and then string up the body. They performed an exorcism, and it worked, but it didn't work because the girl died. Asa and Bucky saw the girl die in front of them because JL made her kill herself. And Asa and JL had this long, bloody feud going. JL wasn't content with just killing Asa. From the sound of it, he wanted to make Asa suffer, and the best way to make Asa suffer was to kill the people that were around him. Kill people that he cared about. Asa had got in a relationship with a woman that had a child, and JL possessed the woman and made her kill herself. It was a complete clusterfuck. And now, there's paranoia setting in because they know that the demon is somewhere in the house possessing one of them. There could be somebody else in the house because the house was full of people earlier, and the demon could be possessing them and laying low for right now. They don't know who is possessed by the demon, but they've got it narrowed down to two people. They think it's either Alicia or Dean, since no one can find Dean because they don't, until Jody brings up that Dean went outside, and they realize that just leaves Alicia. And as it turns out, Alicia is possessed, and her eyes flash red, and she attacks, and then JL leaves her body and flies up the chimney. The hunters split up throughout the house to try and find JL, or at least the body he's inhabiting. Billy offers to get Dean inside the house, but tells him that he's going to owe her. When Dean gets literally kind of thrown through the door at the feet of Lorraine and Elvis, Elvis tries to make out that Dean is the one that's possessed, but it turns out that actually Elvis is possessed. Elvis, or actually JL inside of Elvis, attacks Dean, and while they're fighting, and Dean tells JL that he should go to hell, JL's of the opinion that he doesn't want to go back to hell right now because it's a mess. Lucifer's not in hell right now. Crowley's not in hell right now. Nobody's running anything. So from the sound of it, things are pretty fucked up. I mean, it is hell and all that, but people do like order, and apparently so do demons. Dean starts to try to exorcise JL from Elvis's body, but JL flees, but before he flees Elvis's body, he makes Elvis snap his neck. His neck turns at a violent angle, and there's this really sickening crack, and JL exits as Elvis drops to the ground dead. Everybody comes running back into the same room. The lights wind up going out, and Sam and Dean construct a devil's trap to try and find out who is possessed by JL right now. Their strategy being that they're not going to trap the demon in the devil's trap. They're going to have everybody stand in the devil's trap, and whoever isn't able to get into the devil's trap, isn't able to cross the line into the devil's trap, is obviously the person that's possessed. We see someone walking into Asa's study room and take out the angel blade. Jody whispers to Sam that she thinks that Mary is the one who's possessed, but Jody is not acting like Jody. She's acting more like, your stereotypical hysterical female, which instantly puts both Sam and Dean's radar up. And it turns out that actually it is Jody that's possessed. Jody, or JL inside of Jody, uses their demon power and throws Sam and Dean to other ends of the room. Mary almost stabs Jody with the angel blade, but Sam stops her. JL uses I'm assuming JL is a him, I'm guessing. Uses their power, I'll say there because I'm not really sure, to force everybody to the floor, and JL starts revealing secrets about everyone that's there. JL mocks Sam being possessed by Lucifer, bringing up the fact that, Lucifer letting a vessel stay alive, shows weakness. JL brings up that Max and Alicia came to pay their respects to Asa, but they also had another reason for being there, that Max and Alicia were actually Asa's children, and nobody knew that. And JL also starts saying stuff to Bucky that doesn't make a lot of sense, saying that, you tell them what you did, and all this stuff like that. Sam starts the exorcism to try and force JL out of Mary's body, but he winds up getting thrown against the wall. Dean picks up the thread of the exorcism, and he gets tossed as well. Alicia and Max then start both chanting the words of the exorcism, continuing the thread, and they get thrown too. And at the end of it, Mary is the last person to continue the exorcism, the words of the exorcism, and JL is forced out of Jody's body and forced back into hell. But not before Bucky, who, under pressure from JL, has to admit that Bucky actually killed Asa. What happened was, as Bucky explains it, Asa and JL were in another, Asa and Bucky were chasing after JL in the woods, and what happened was Bucky wanted to stop, but Asa wanted to keep going after JL, Bucky blaming Asa's stubbornness. And what happened was that Bucky and Asa got into a physical altercation. Asa wound up being shoved by Bucky. Asa fell down, cracked his head, cracked his skull, or actually probably broke his neck, I should say. And Bucky, in a panic, not knowing, he wanted to, he obviously didn't want to be blamed for Asa's death because Asa was, so beloved, and also because Asa was his friend. He kept repeating how much it was an accident and all this stuff like that. So in order to shift the blame to JL, Bucky put Asa, in the noose, strung the body up in the tree, and made it look like Asa's death was JL's doing. Instead of going to the police obviously that's not going to happen, because what are they going to, the other hunters obviously can't turn Bucky into the police, because what are they going to say? Well, officer, we were out hunting a demon and shit just went wrong. That'll go over well with the cops. Bucky's not going to be turned over to the police, but the other hunters make it very clear that word is going to spread throughout the hunting community about Bucky's actions. So basically, he's probably going to wind up being dead to the hunter community if somebody doesn't flat out take justice into their own hands and kill him themselves. We don't know. We cut to the next morning where we see Bucky's obviously left. We don't know where he slinks off into the darkness, I guess. We see Asa's body and Randy's body being burned, and Elvis's body as well, on a hunter funeral pyre. And Lorraine is actually coping a little better than she was previously. One of her things in the tirade that she had said to Mary earlier was that, Asa didn't have a wife, he didn't have kids, basically he didn't have a family. And Lorraine now realizes that Asa did have a family, besides her. He had people in his life that loved him a lot. And now she also finds out that she has 2 grandchildren that she wants to get to know better. So we see her walk away from the pyre, and she walks up to Alicia and Max and hugs both of them, which was very sweet. Jody and Mary stand together talking, mom to mom, and Jody in a moment of real kindness. I mean, just genuine human kindness. She says that she's not sure about what's going on between Mary and her sons, but she says, but I got to tell you, mom to mom, they are good men, best I've ever met. And I thought that was really, really sweet and really nice. Mary agrees with her, which I was like, yeah, I mean, Mary knows that she's got 2 good sons. She knows that Sam and Dean are good men. She knows that. But she says they're not the problem, which I thought was very, very telling. Mary walks over to Sam and Dean, and they're not alone either all of a sudden, as Billy has shown back up again. And Billy tells Dean that, now Dean owes her a favor, and the favor that she apparently wants is Mary. She tells Mary that, her being back, Mary being alive again, goes against the natural order of things, and that what's dead should stay dead. Billy does make an interesting offer to Mary, though. She says that she wants to give her a one-way ticket upstairs, a trip back to heaven, away from all of this, because she says that she can see that Mary's suffering. Mary feels like she doesn't fit in. When Mary asks how that would work, and Sam's like, Mom? I mean, you can hear the raw panic in Sam's voice. She asks Billy, would Billy just kill her? And Billy's answer is, Reapers don't kill people. Rules. And Mary's response to that is, well, then I guess you're just going to have to wait. Billy looks irritated. She does tell Mary that if she changes her mind about being alive still, and if any of the Winchesters change their minds, she says, you know my name. And then she disappears. Now, considering that Billy has said more than once that once she reaps Sam and Dean, that they're going to be thrown into the big empty, I really don't think Sam and Dean are going to be calling you anytime soon. Just saying. Mother and sons kind of look at each other for a minute, and the guys realize that, she's still got things she's got to deal with. She tells them that. Mary's honest with them. She says that she's going to come back with them, but she's got some things she has to take care of first, which, of course, begs the question, what the fuck are those? You know, what things do you have to take care of? But she does say she's going to come home. And the fact that she obviously considers the Batcave home is a good thing. It's even a better thing that she considers anywhere Sam and Dean are. That's home, which... Sorry. Getting emotional. Sorry. They decide they're going to go get some breakfast. Mary brings up with bacon. Dean's response of all the bacon, which was just too adorable. And they walk off. Dean's a little in front of them. Mary and Sam are walking behind, and Sam puts his arm around his mom in this very protective, sweet gesture. And the episode ends. Oh, wow. Celebrating the life of Asa Fox is an episode that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed it a lot. I give this episode 4.5 bouquets out of 5. Any chance we get to have Jody Mills back on the show, as far as I'm concerned, is just awesome. Because Jody is an awesome character, and Kim Rhodes is just an awesome actress, and I love her. I love Lisa Berry. I absolutely love Lisa Berry as an actress. I think she's fantastic and great and terrific. Billy just scares the piss out of me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Lisa. I love you, but your character scares me. Because I always worry she's going to hurt Sam and Dean. I'm sorry. There it is. But I love you, Lisa. You're awesome. I have to be honest, if they did a spin-off series with the Baines siblings, I would watch the fuck out of that. I liked them so much. I was like, they're awesome. I want to know more about Max and Alicia. They're great. You know, I was like, this would be awesome. I would watch that show in a second. Okay. Now, obviously, this coming week is Thanksgiving. And because it's Thanksgiving, Supernatural is not going to be on this week. Supernatural will return to the airwaves on December 1st with the episode Rock Never Dies. Apparently, being sent to the bottom of the ocean didn't take with Lucifer because he's back. Still in the vessel of Vince Vincenti. We don't know what he's got up his sleeve, but we know it's not going to be good for humanity, and we know Sam and Dean and possibly Crowley and Cass and maybe Rowena will be doing their best to stop him. Can't wait to see it. Okay, before I get going for the week, I have something else that I would like to talk with you guys about that, normally on my show, I try and be funny and happy and goofy and you know, talk to you guys about Supernatural and have fun. You know, I mean, my show is about having fun and having fun with you and sharing good times with you. But sometimes you got to talk about serious stuff. And I have something serious to talk about with you guys right now. We talk about the Supernatural fans, and the phrase Supernatural family gets brought up a lot. And for some people, those are just words. Not for me. Supernatural, to me, is a family. The fans are a family, not only with the stars of the show, but with each other. And we try to help each other when we can. And, you know, I know people that have been able to get to Supernatural cons because, you know, people generously donated, and other people have done other things for fans, for fans they've never met. And, and I think that's a beautiful thing. And you hear about that happening and you go, gosh, that's really awesome. And then when you realize someone that you care about is someone that needs that kind of help, you want to help them, and you want other people to get to know them and find out what kind of a person they are so they'll help them. Because sometimes we all need a little help. I wish we didn't. And fuck, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. My friend Katie, and a lot of your friends, Katie. I know Katie has a lot of friends out there. Katie Underwood is a Supernatural fan from Hutchinson, Kansas. Katie is a great person. I met her through Supernatural and we became quick friends. She is funny. She is smart. She is a great writer. She is a devoted Samazon. And she has cancer. And that really fucking sucks. Because she is a really great person. She has recently been diagnosed with cancer. And it is... I mean, fuck, it's cancer. What the fuck else do you need to say? Seriously. She is also currently not working, so she's not having any funds come in. She is needing some help, guys, to help out with medical bills and stuff like that. And she has put up a GoFundMe page. It is at gofundme.com/Kathy's-cancer-medical-fund. There's going to be a link in my show notes this week. There is going to be, you can go to her webpage, her Facebook page. I'll look for Katie Underwood and look for her Facebook page. If you can donate anything, I mean, whatever you can spare, I'm sure she would appreciate it. I think what she would actually need as much as money is your thoughts and your good vibes, your good thoughts, your good feelings, your prayers, if you are religiously inclined. If you pray to God or to Allah or to Buddha or the flying spaghetti monster or, whoever your deity of your choice is, if you could just send along a prayer for Katie to fight this, because she is a strong person and she is a Supernatural family member, and I want her to beat this. I know she's going to beat this because she is a strong person, and I just want her to get love from you guys, because I know you guys have a lot of love out there, and help her out if you can. Send money to her GoFundMe if you can. If you can't, just send her some good vibes and good feelings. I don't really think you can ask for any more than that. And Katie, I love you, girl. I do. I think you're awesome, and you can beat this. Turning to something else, which is what we do here, turn a page. Talking about things that you guys can do for fun if you're looking for something fun to do. TC and I happened to catch the newest... actually, it's not the newest chapter in the Harry Potter universe, is it? Because it takes place in the 20s, so it would be the oldest chapter? Ow, that hurt. We checked out the new movie Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Great movie. We're going to have a review this week on Subject Cinema. Wow. I mean, wow. Seriously, check this movie out. It is awesome. Also, I would like to say, real quick, sorry. If you guys have never checked out our other shows, I hope you will, over at subjectcinema.com, which is our movie podcast, TC and I's movie podcast, where we do movie reviews and news and all kinds of funny stuff, because we try and be all wacky and crazy and have a good show for you to talk about movies and stuff. We hope you'll enjoy it if you could check it out over at subjectcinema.com. There is Cave Babble over at cavebabble.com, which is another show in our family, done by the awesome Eric Lyon and his terrific wife Valerie and their kids and grandkids and other sundry folks. They talk about movies and music, and Cave Babble eats odd things and whatever else is going on at the time. Cavebabble.com, definitely check them out. If you're so inclined to check out our Patreon campaign, you can do that over at patreon.com/PNRNetworks. If you want to send us some coin, that would be great. You can check me out over at PlatinumRoselle@Twitter.com if you want to follow me on Twitter. Definitely, I would, welcome the followers. If you'd like to check out any works of fiction of mine, I've written some fanfic over the years. I am on fanfiction.net at you look up Platinum Rose Lady in the author search section, and I'm there. You can also see some of my stuff at archiveofourown.com if you're so inclined. And that is going to do it for this week here on my show. Obviously, this week coming up is Thanksgiving in the United States. If you are listening in the United States, I wish you and your family a very happy and healthy Thanksgiving. Don't drink and drive. If you are indulging in alcoholic beverages, don't drink and drive. And that is going to do it for this week here on Platinum Rose's Garden. This is Platinum Rose Lady signing off until I come back in 2 weeks. Remember to love the ones you hug the ones you love, and take some time to stop and smell the roses. See you around. Bye.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.